Good day, my name is Bluesuit and today I'll be going over my review of the story-driven Japanese folklore-inspired side-scrolling action-adventure title known as Trek to Yomi. In Trek to Yomi, you play as Hiroki, a young Ronin samurai facing down his deepest tragedies and traversing death and back to confront his demons and regain his honor. As the game begins, you're introduced to Hiroki as a young apprentice, eager to learn from his samurai mentor to one day protect the village. The story is the absolute best thing about Trek to Yomi, so I won't get into the details too much, but it's told in this really unique, old-timey black and white style that feels like a throwback to old 50s era samurai movies. It doesn't come across as a gimmick either. Trek to Yomi puts in some serious effort to make it feel like a cinematic experience throughout the whole game. Every frame of painting really feels like the goal here, as the music, lighting, settings, and animation all seem to work in harmony to create this unique world. Additionally, the early parts of the game lean heavily on feudal Japanese traditions, and as the story progresses, a lot of the Japanese folklore comes to the forefront of the storytelling. If you don't know, Yomi is the Japanese word for the land of the dead and darkness, and Hiroki's tale takes him far beyond the fields of his village and into the nightmares of the afterlife. There are a lot of dark themes and deep emotions for him to sort through, and plenty of reason to give it several playthroughs since there are multiple endings depending on a few key decision-making points during the trek. There's even a well-kept journal that you can use that keeps track of your journey so far in a cool little story format. Along your journey, Trek to Yomi throws countless foes at you to cut down. The combat here feels like a side-scrolling Sekiro as you parry and riposte enemies with your katana while blood flies around the battlefield. You can slice your way through them, use your ranged weapons, or stun them to perform stylish finishers that regain health. Overall, combat is far less deep than the story, but nonetheless still engaging. Making your way through the story will gradually unlock new, more powerful attack combinations, as well as new ranged weapons like the bow and arrow and the Izutsu, a slow but powerful hand cannon. The game does also have a handful of challenging bosses to test your skills against as well, with each having their own movesets and attack patterns to learn. Some of them are especially over the top, and taking them down on the harder difficulties is a real challenge. The fighting does have a bit of a learning curve, as once you turn up the difficulty, mistiming a parry or whiffing an attack can cost you your life, but fortunately the levels are littered with these little shrines that act as checkpoints that also refill your health and stamina, so dying doesn't usually set you back more than a couple of minutes. The one small downside to the combat though is in the enemy variety. It really feels like you're fighting the same exact enemies all the way through the underworld and back, with a few extra types added in the final act, and I would have liked to have seen more creativity, especially once you traverse down into Yomi. The last great thing that I wanted to bring up about Trek to Yomi is its superb level design. When you're in combat, it's a 2D side-scrolling samurai beat-em-up, but once outside of combat, you can actually free roam around these linear handcrafted levels. Nooks and crannies are in decent supply here for you to explore and unlock codex entries, max health and stamina, or even new combo moves. What I really liked here was that there aren't any arrows pointing to where you need to go, yet the level progression still feels really organized and easy to follow because of the clever lighting being used. Instead of a heavy-handed UI saying, okay, go here now, well-lit areas and high contrast naturally draw you down the right corridor or hallway to progress the game. These levels do have a small handful of puzzles to solve, but they seem to exist more as a narrative device for Hiroki's journey than to be an actual challenge. There is one reason though why some players are going to be turned off by this experience completely though, and that's just because of how super short it is. In my first playthrough I got to the credits in just 5 hours, and my second is on track to be done even quicker. Trek to Yomi is definitely a game that's designed to be beaten several times however, as it has multiple endings and an even higher unlockable difficulty that makes every non-boss character die in one hit, even you. You can pick up Trek to Yomi right now on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox for $20, but its real value falls a bit shy of that. It is a wonderfully told story of a man who loses everything and travels to hell and back to find himself and his revenge. However, being such a short game does hold it back, but not by much due to its replayability and the quality of the content. So I'm valuing Trek to Yomi at $17, and I highly recommend it to fans of narrative-driven games who are looking for a quick fix of some great storytelling. Also, I will say that as of the time of this review, it looks like it's on Game Pass, and that would be the perfect time to pick it up. I hope you enjoyed this review of Trek to Yomi. Come see me on Twitch where you can watch our reviews in progress. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time.